right. Our next question. Why is Mike so delusional about him and Malia being over? Why can't he just move on? Have you ever had an ex who acted like Mike? Yeah, I'm not sure if he's so delusional. I think it's just part of his game. It's just his audacity, and I fully think he's moved on. I mean, he got married and I don't believe she's the only one that he has, I feel like he has women in different area codes.
Hi.
And it's not going to stop. Even if him and Malia were to get back together, he'd still have other females, So I don't think it's delusion. I think it's the game he plays. He
The
knows. He
game,
knows
baby.
how
The
to play.
game.
You know. Let's see. Is that the? Hi, mommy. Have you ever had an ex who acted like Mike? Yeah.
Yeah, we already dealt with that.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I'm not going back down that road.
Right.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Right. We got past that. We did our healing, so
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, because we already talked about that. We're not gonna mention that again because I'll have to relive a few things.
girl, you ain't the only one.
I know, right? You have to put a trigger on this trigger warning for anybody who has dealt with narcissistic relationships, whether it be male or female or family members. Viewer discretion is advised.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't think Prince Michael is delusional. Um no, he just in his mind he don't think it's over. This is one of his mini games. This is, he just sees it more as like a little hurdle. He's so full of himself he can't believe that she could possibly be over him, especially with the history that they have.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I have just popped in my head, but yes, I have had an ex that acted like Mike. So yeah, that's my little 2 cents. I just think this is one of Prince Michael's games.
Prince Michael. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think he's delusional. I think he just doesn't care. I
Mm.
think it's just like, hey, we had a good thing back then. I want that old thing back. And goes back to not being told no. It goes back to not having people in your life holding you accountable. I'm going to tell you the truth. One of my fears as a human being is ruining relationships with amazing people. You know, that's a fear
Mm.
of mine. So my girls will tell you, I love on them. I hype them up. If they need me, I'm there in a jiffy, baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? I let T know last week. I was like, yo, I might need to go to Tacoma for a couple of days because, Alicia needs me. I'm like, but I'm going to let her give me the word because when she say so, come on, Layla, I'm packing you up. The boys can stay here because I know that's what they want to do, play their video games. And I'm going to be on my cousin's couch with her and we're going to make this thing happen. He was like, I understand, you got to be there for your family. And so I just don't think that he understands or doesn't care to understand that when you have good people in your life, you have to nurture those relationships. Relationships are not like one size fits all, and it's not a one-sided like you only go down this street. It's not a one-way street. Relationships are mutually beneficial. What do you bring into the table in that relationship? And again, I'm talking about me and my girls, but you have to be there for the people that you love, you have to, and that you care for. And so I'm like, I never want to do something that's going to be offensive to my cousin or my best friend. Like, I don't ever want to hurt them on any level because I love them. And I fear, oh my God, what if I did something stupid and I ruin this relationship with these people? How would I live with myself? I love these ladies. I love these ladies, right? Mike doesn't see his actions or behavior as a way of being like, so if I do this to this person, he's not calculating risk here. What if I lose this person forever? And that's what he's done. He's lost Malia. Now he's coming back home from this failed relationship. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go see what's up with her. Not respecting the fact that she's moved on. She doesn't want me. So he's very much entitled. And that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's like because he thinks he can do whatever he wants. It's like he feels like what he did isn't that bad. You know, like it's just like my mom said I could have anybody I want. Like, get over it. You know, I'm a hot commodity.
And I think people's family and friends play a big role in their disrespect and delusion. You know, I got somebody right now that I'm teaching a valuable lesson to. You know, you cannot mistreat people and think that you're still going to have access to that person, family or no family, friends, family,
Hmm.
everything. Like, hold me accountable. And that's one thing I can say about my girls. They be like, "What's going on with you, sis?" Like, they call me up, "Are you okay? You a little off today?" Or they'll be like,
Hmm.
"You just seem down," or you was a little extra zesty today." They talk, they talk to me, and they're there, and they're my accountability partners. They keep me accountable. You don't need a bunch of yes people in your life. You need some people gonna be like, "Nope, that ain't gonna
Right.
work." You need people in your life who are like, "I don't think that's a good idea." He doesn't seem to have people like that in his life because of who he is. He has a lot of people who are just like, "Okay, whatever you say." That's dangerous because that'll put you in a whole different planet that you live on by yourself, where nobody can touch you because you've had people around you who built you up and they haven't called you out on your toxic behavior. So,
Hmm.
Alicia, I think it's your question.
Yes. Um, I was scared for Malia when Mike was trying to force her to leave peacefully, in quotations, with
Was
him. Um, he is dangerous. Will Malia call the police or get a restraining order against him? Um, if she's smart, she'll get a restraining order because he clearly doesn't take her saying 5,000 times, "Leave me the F alone." He doesn't take that serious. It resulted in him grabbing her. And like I said, I think he may have caught the attention of some people. So he, let go and then went into desperate
victim
mode.
mode.
Like, okay, no, please come with me. Like, for real, people are starting to pick up. Come on, let's stop playing
Let's
around. So
take
he
this
doesn't take
conversation somewhere else.
at all. Yeah, yeah. And then it could go a whole nother way. I think if it was like him and her in a back alley somewhere, or not even a back alley, it could have been a parking lot, just, not in a room full of hundreds of people or 100 people or however,
You
what if it was just them two. I think that would have went way different. So if she's smart, she's going to get a restraining order against him. Um, Yeah. Because I think if he did try to physically, like while she's saying, F you, get away from me, blah, 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 she could say strong words, but I don't see her as a fighter yet. Um, I'm sure at some point she's going to get with somebody's program. But thus far, she's sweet, kind, in head in the clouds, Malia. And so right now she's angry and saying stuff. But I think if he was to change the game on her, and pop her, grab her, drag her out somewhere, I don't think she would like physically be able to take him. So she needs a restraining order.
He hasn't met the three of
Hmm.
us. That's the problem.
Girl, coming out that rest stop, we wasn't playing with it, was we?
No.
Everybody had a visible weapon. We weren't playing with
Kyrie told that man, he was like, "Oh, are you guys okay?" She said, "Get back or I'm gonna hit you in your head with this
it.
bat."
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He was like, "Oh."
We was ready. And she was like 8 months pregnant, but it was like, nope, we're gonna get down. Go
Just
ahead.
needed him to stay safe. That's all. Just
He was
stay
like,
over
"Oh
there.
my god."
Hmm.
It was like what 1 o'clock in the morning at a rest stop in the middle of absolutely nowhere, somewhere in Oregon.
Nowhere. Mm. We weren't
Three
playing
women on
with
the
it.
road, and we was weaponed up, baby. Like we was like ready for
And
that
we made
action.
sure, yeah, we made sure everything was visible. It was
Uh-huh.
In
like
there, we
if
had all
you
kind of
knew
big
it was
weapons.
coming, yeah. Like if you got stumped
Anybody
out or
who
you
saw us
know
was like,
that
"Is somebody getting jumped? Is somebody getting murdered?"
right.
Whoa, like these chicks out here with weapons, weapons. Like ain't no little look. No, baby, we had big stuff.
Mm-mm. Nothing was concealed.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
No
Too
concealed
funny.
weapon. Pop out a bush, you're gonna get taken out. Yeah, let me see. So the
I
question
definitely
go ahead, babe.
I was just gonna say, I definitely don't think Malia is going to call the police or get a restraining order. I mean, we are in Rose City in this high status community, and Mike is the freaking DA. What the heck is that little restraining order gonna do? You
That's
know,
a
so
problem.
unfortunately, I mean, and we see it all the time in society with the government officials. Like you go to the police, and people that know them, they got buddies in the system, and they be, oh, okay, yeah, we'll look into that. Sure. And then you're like, well,
Yeah,
what's going on? He was at my house last night. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll look into that.
yeah.
And then, I
Look
mean, they don't
into.
do anything until
Mm,
somebody ends up dead, unfortunately, and then they're like, oh, we did get a report. And then it's like all this back paper, and then this person
lawsuit.
gets fired. Maybe that person gets fired, but somebody still had to lose their life for anything to be done, But like Elysia said, Malia is not at a point in her life where she's speaking up and advocating for herself, and regardless of what anybody else thinks,
Right.
because I'm like,
Mhm.
she has so many friends, she has so many connections. I'm sure her mom has connections. Why haven't you
Mm.
told Antonio any of this? Or I don't know, maybe she has.
Mm.
It's just like, call your boys. And I know I was in that place in my life where when I was dealing with abuse, I didn't even tell my brothers, and
Mm.
I was scared that if I said anything, that they were going to come over and take care of him. Like it was just going to be
You
no
would have
more
been taken
relationship for
care of.
me,
And squeezed out.
and so I was afraid of that. So I didn't tell my brothers until after the relationship was over, and they were just heartbroken. Like, I had no idea you were over there dealing with that. And they made sure,
Nobody did.
yeah, I mean, I didn't tell Karina. I
I
mean,
was so mad. I was like, you should have told me.
yeah, everybody was just so upset, but I did not know how to advocate for myself. I thought I had to deal with it. And, I didn't want to bring anybody else in and then get them hurt, especially when I wasn't in
I
a
wouldn't have
place
been hurt.
I was ready to leave
Mhm.
I would have
either.
been just fine.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah. So.
Being raised on the streets of the east side. So, you guys make some really good points about Malia, which brings me back to in the early 2000s, our police chief in Tacoma, David Brame. If you Google him and his wife had a very toxic relationship. He was the toxic party, and he abused her and mistreated her. She would like leave, and he would show up. He would beat her up and stuff like that. She would call the police, and nothing was done because he was the chief of police in Tacoma. They were working on a divorce or separated or whatever, and they were meeting in a public place. It was at the Safeway in Gig Harbor. They met up there on a Saturday morning to drop the kids off, to do a handoff. And the police chief of Tacoma killed his wife in front of their two children and turned the gun on himself. That whole investigation opened up all of these reports that this woman had been complaining, you know, trying to get something done, and nobody would help her because of his position. Her family were outraged. Her parents, they sued the city, of course. But what does that do? Does that bring back your dead daughter?
No.
Nope. She could have just been like, well, she should have left. Okay, so she could have jumped up, grabbed the two kids, and jetted. And what would have happened? You ran off with the police chief's two kids. These people know people. They would have put her out there as like Amber Alert. They would have made up lies about her mental health and she's dangerous. Like,
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying? So we have
Right.
women who are in these situations with powerful men, and they know they got you over a barrel. So there's two things happening here in Rose City that you see. Status plays a big part in we don't we don't want to raise attention. I've had people do things to me, and my mother has told me, let that go, because that's going to reflect poorly on this family. And I'm like, the inner hood me is like, I don't care about none of that name stuff. I don't care about being no Scott. I don't care about that business. No disrespect, but you don't disrespect me. And there was a lot of things I had to suck up because of my last name, because my mom and my dad and people knew them and had a certain idea about this black family. You know what I mean? Alicia, you already know there was a mess that was going on with them chicks around the corner, and me and you wanted to deal with it in the worst way and couldn't deal
Mm.
with it properly because
Putting, yeah,
our parents, your mom and my dad were like, no, because we're not raising our kids to be behaving like that. I'm like, yeah, but we're being harassed, and it's time for us to roll upon them because I know where you live at. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
not being able to deal with stuff when you're being threatened, disrespected, harassed because your family wants you to downplay stuff because it's not going to look good if you get out in the streets and get ratchet. Okay, I don't
right.
care about looking ratchet now.
My
I got
mom
all
was
that.
worried about how,
The
it would
people at the
reflect
church.
the church. Yeah, because she was, she had some status at the church we were at, and it was just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
crazy. So we are
Um,
supposed to just allow ourselves to be mistreated and attacked, lied on. It's okay.
had to
So we
see
have
it all
this
through high school.
right, and so we
Hmm.
have this going on where Malia's not really speaking up for herself with Mike. I don't think Malia's going to call the police on Mike or get a restraining order. That restraining order is going to have to go through his office, the court system. So they really going to file a restraining order against their new district attorney?
Nah. Yeah,
No.
he's a district attorney. Wouldn't he
Yeah,
be
he's
the one
assistant
that?
district attorney.
Yeah,
Well, it's gonna go across his desk that this woman that is jaded, because that's what we're gonna go next, baby. She bitter. She mad. You know what I'm saying? He left her for Miss Ortega. She mad, mad. She got embarrassed. Now she up here making up lies. You see how the
yeah,
narrative's about to be changed? And then the second part of that is Mike is a black man who's well educated and powerful. You better not say nothing about a black man. Let's talk about that's toxic. That's toxic. That a person can mistreat you, but because they look like what society wants to see. Don't you tear down no black man. So I should allow myself to be mistreated and attacked because we both are the same color. You got to make it make sense. And I hear that a lot of times where I hear people say, well, for the culture, what I'm saying, you got to suck it up. Okay. Um, what are we teaching our daughters here?
Exactly.
What are we teaching our future generations? That just because this man isn't a drug dealer, just because he doesn't have a record, you don't tear down that man, and you gonna set us all back. Set us all back. He set himself back.
right, right.
So I don't believe Malia is gonna call the police or get a restraining order against Mike because he does need it. And I'm gonna tell you something. I've had some encounters with people who had a little bit of power, and I had to remind them that I'm not scared to tell on you. I'm not scared to turn you in at this point in my life. It may not go the way I want it to go. You may not get in trouble, but I'll publicly embarrass you. I mean, if that's what it takes, you know what I'm saying? Because allowing people to mistreat you doesn't get better. But I do know that Malia's mother seems like the type of person that if she tries to speak up, she's like, you don't, you just wrong. And there are ways to deal with this. And you just did it. You just went about the wrong way. Yeah. So family dynamics and trying to protect your last name. Who are we really trying to protect? Because it ain't me. You know what I mean? So a
Right.
lot of women get caught up in these domestic violence situations and can't say anything because he's a pastor. He's a businessman. You don't want to slander him. Well, he shouldn't be over here putting his hands on people. Mike seemed very dangerous. He did all of that in front of hundreds of people in the room. Yeah, again, what would have happened if they would have been in the parking lot or he would have stopped over at the boutique or he would have
Mm,
caught her out somewhere else and it wasn't a bunch of people around. What could have happened? He's showing signs of just real instability with his emotions, you know, and we can't look past that. And a lot of these people do. They behave that way. Nobody can tell them nothing. There's no accountability for nothing. Everybody just wants to focus on all the good that they do. That's great that you're doing good for the community, but your personal life is jacked up and you over here mistreating people. Let's call
sucks.
it out.
Right,
You know?
And like you
right.
said, where's the advocacy for the woman in the situation? It's not like, oh, he's a black man, you can't speak against a black man like that. And it's like, okay, but what about the woman? That's fine if y'all don't want me to publicly embarrass him, but it
Are
still
y'all
needs
gonna
to
get them
be
together?
dealt with. And I remember when I was younger and something would happen with my aunties and stuff, and my uncle and my grandfather, like they roll over to the house, they got their bats, they're gonna go talk to somebody, and it was dealt with quietly. everybody didn't find out about it, but it was handled. People used to go and take care of that. Like the family showed up, but that has
Mhm.
just dissipated. You know, but
Everybody has a selfish mentality of like, "What are you gonna do with me? You should have had a better picker. I got something for you and your picker." That's why I always tell people, I'm not waiting for nobody to posse up for Corenna. I got this. You know what I mean? Like you just, and it would be nice if you see men and families show up. Malia should be able to go to her grandfather, her uncle, her dad, cousins, and be like, look, he's bothering me. Like, even if I don't want to, expose it on a large level publicly, she should be able to go to her family and be like, somebody need to call out his people and be like, yo, leave her alone or we're going to have to come over and break some kneecaps. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
not even having we don't even see that so much anymore in families. We don't see people really protecting each other. I told you that he was nothing and you thought he was cute. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a fortune teller. So I
Right.
see the future.
Right.
The future says I'm gonna be mistreated. You know, it's wild. All right. Malia thinks Mike is getting his information for Erika. Why does she think that they would be talking? Um, Mike could be getting his information from Erica or anybody, to be honest. But I don't think that Malia is wrong for thinking that it's Erica. Something on the inside of her is telling her that it's Erica. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, baby. Trust your inner star player. Okay? Trust that voice that you hear. Because I'm gonna tell you something.
Yes.
I hear
Yes.
stuff the first time, and I'll talk myself out like, nah, because I'm just tripping. I always convince myself that I'm just tripping or I'm just overly thinking, and it's always what I thought it was the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, in myself, if you think, that it's Erica, because your star player, your spirit is telling you Erica's behind this. Like I said, it could be other people too. It's Rose City, everybody yapping their mouths. But something is telling her that's probably like, yeah, because I mean, she keeps bringing it up. I know Erica told you this. Like, and he's not really denying it either. Like, no, I don't even talk.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that, Erica? You know, he's not even like correcting her. He just kind of like, Mike is just talking past Malia. Malia's talking and he's like, yeah, okay. Blah, 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 blah. He's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, did you not hear me? You know? So I don't think that she's wrong to assume that it is her. Trust the star player, baby. Trust that. Trust the voice. Trust the instinct. Trust your gut. I have talked myself out of so many things. And I'd be like, man, I knew that though. I knew that. Even answers on tests. God was trying to help a
Right.
girl
No.
out, honey. I'm like, nah, that ain't it.
It has, I think it has to be Erica. If it's something negative, I feel like Eva or, her other friend would most likely have her back and be like, "Oh yeah, that is her new dude, blah 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 blah." And the one to tell her, to feed bad information, or not bad information, but anything that can be seen negatively,
Mhm.
it's going to be from Erica. Erica don't want
Right.
nobody to be happy.
Mm-mm.
Um, so yeah, and like you said, your inner person, you're like, okay, so who would he have talked to that would have
Right.
passed this particular information on? And through deduction, now it could have been her, like you said, it could have been anybody,
Right.
but no, she wasn't. I don't think she was wrong for thinking it's Erica. That's she. It was giving Erica vibes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and plus, it's a chance to kind of embarrass Malia a little bit.
Hmm.
Oh, you thought that was her man? Oh no, that's not her man. She
Right.
ain't got no man,
He straightened
Mike.
down when he
Said
came through,
Mike
though.
knew. Yeah,
Mike
and
was
that's the first thing he sat down and said. He said, "Yeah, I knew you were just trying to make
calm.
me mad with that guy. You ain't got nobody. Why are you here?" Almost, teasing her a little bit. So, yeah, it could have been Erica. She wouldn't have been wrong. and thinking
Hmm.
so.
Yeah, I agree. What's your thoughts, Kitty?
I agree. I agree. Who else could it be? I mean, that little sneaky thing, she gonna show up anywhere she can. And Mike
Mhm.
probably called her asking. You know, she was all too eager on that phone. Ooh, 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 yeah, I know. She was all too
Mhm.
eager to give off that information. So yeah,
Definitely.
that was her raggedy self.
Yeah, most def.
Raggedy. Hmm.
All right, our next question. It seems like Malia is trapped. Mike is now making threats against her and her family. Do you think Mike will? I guess you think. Do you think Mike will act on his threats? I wouldn't put it past him. You know, especially when he seems like when he can't get his way, he's just going to throw a bigger and bigger tantrum and pull out different methods of getting what he wants. You know,
Mhm.
and I was going to say when people are desperate, they do desperate things, but Mike isn't desperate. This is part of his game. So he's just purely going to be throwing a fit and then trying to use his power to get what he wants, which is Malia, you
Yeah.
know. And I was thinking about one of my past relationships. You know, he would just do crazy stuff. He called the police on me and say that I was abusing the children. He put out an Amber Alert one time because I wouldn't tell him where I was, and so he told them that I kidnapped the kids. You know, what he did like what 2 or 3 Amber Alerts, Karina? I can't remember. I
Jeez.
mean, it was so bad. He called CPS, said I was abusing kids. It was so bad I had to literally take my kids to the courthouse and show them that there were no bruises or anything on their bodies for them to drop the case against me. And
It was just crazy.
yeah, and I was just like, you know, I had showed them the text messages of the harassment, and I mean, that's the only way I could, you know, prove that he wasn't telling the truth. But you know, people do crazy things to get what they want, and I don't know why he thought that would make me come
He
home.
should. He should.
but, but
Right. He should have been arrested for
He
that.
really should. False police
yeah,
reports.
the
And
last
you
time
have the text messages that show that he's like, well, if you come home, then I'll drop all this.
yeah, they told him they were going to arrest him. They said, if this is your last chance, you know, if you keep messing with this woman and she calls us again, then we're gonna
Abusing
we're
the court
gonna arrest you.
system.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I feel like Mike would probably do that, especially with his title, of being the DA. Shoot, I would be terrified if the person I was in a relationship with was a part of law enforcement. Oh God, how
Right.
scary is
And
that? Like they know people and they.
a,
Nope.
Mm,
a prominent, a
Uh,
prominent,
right.
yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. He definitely could make it happen and get away with it.
definitely. Easily.
So, um, yeah, it's not do we think he will. We need to pray that he don't. So that's all for me.
Yeah.
Karina.
I do think that at some point, when people feel like they're being tested, I feel like Mike thinks he's being tested at this point. I think he feels like, he's talking to her in the scene and he's like, you've never talked to me this way. You've never acted like this again to me. So now I feel like he feels like he's being challenged. So now he's like ready to bring out the big dogs to show Malia, I'm not here to be played with. You know what I'm saying? You go play with some kids, you go play with some traffic. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk to your baby daddy, future baby daddy, your future husband like that. So I think under the right circumstances, Mike will abuse his power. He just has the makings of it. He really has the makings of somebody who will show, at some point, this is what I'm gonna do. And so again, I don't think this is his first rodeo though. You know, before he was assistant, district attorney, he was already an attorney. Had he been using connections in California and doing people dirty? Like, one thing I've learned about people who do certain behaviors, there's patterns here. They don't just wake up on one day like, what? William's gonna be the first victim. They've been doing stuff anyway, and they've become really good at it. So I think under the right circumstances, Mike will definitely use his power.